The terminal isn't really an app for your computer, it is your computer. The terminal lets us see inside of our computer in its purest form. Let me demonstrate to you how the visual version of your computer that you're used to using every day is the same as what you see in the command line, just presented differently. First, I'll open up my command line. And I'll dock this to the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see here that it has your username. For me, that's Tanya. Followed by the @ symbol, Tanya, @ and then Ubuntu PC. This is the name of my computer, so it's saying that you are logged in as Tanya at a computer called Ubuntu PC. After that, we have a colon, and then a tilde, this little squiggle. That little squiggle means that you're in your home directory. The tilde is followed by a $, and the $sign is the prompt. It means that you can type something on this line. I'll also open up my Files app and dock this to the right side. Now I can see a visual representation of my files and folders, and I can also see the command line representation. This way we can type commands and compare what we see. When you open up the Files app, you will also find yourself in your home directory. In this way, the command line and the visual version of your computer is the same. When we open up a new version of whichever browser we're using, we start in our home directory. In my command line, I'm now going to type the first command, ls, and press enter. This gives us a list of everything that is in the current directory. That means everything in our home folder. As you can see, the folders listed here in our command line are the same as the folders over here in the visual version of our computer. These two representations are exactly the same. In our command line, folders are represented by these blue words, while files are represented in white. You can see examples.desktop is this down here, and although it looks like a folder, it's actually a shortcut, which means it's represented differently in our command line version. Any blue folder, also known as a directory, is something that we can look inside of, just like we do in the visual version by double-clicking. Let's say I want to look in my Downloads folder. In the visual version, I would double-click. Currently, there's nothing in my Downloads folder, because this is a brand new installation of Ubuntu. Back in my command line, if I type cd for change directory, and then type in Downloads, and press enter, you'll see that my location has changed. Now, rather than being in Home, I'm in Home/Downloads. And in here, if I type ls to list all of the files and folders, nothing will show up. There is nothing in our Downloads folder, so there is nothing to list when we enter that command. To go back a folder, normally we just press the back button. In the command line, we do this using the same command as we used to go into a folder, cd for change directory. But this time, instead of going into a folder using its name, we want to go back. And we do this by typing ... and then pressing enter. You'll see that our location has changed back to home. And if I type ls, I will see that I'm back in that directory with all of these folders as options that I could browse into. Let's do a quick recap. First, I'll clear my command line. The first thing we learned is that this tiny squiggle, known as the tilde, means that we're in our home directory. I can type in ls to list all of the things that exist in that directory. I can use cd and then the name of a folder to go into that folder. This will update my location, and I can run more commands from that location. We also learned how to go back up a folder by typing cd space ... and pressing enter. This changes our location back to the home directory. That covers the basics of what you need for navigating around your computer using the command line. It's important to understand that the command line is just a text-based representation of the computer that you're used to using every day. These two simple commands, ls and CD are all you need to navigate around your computer using the command line.